Hi, everyone. I'm Gary Berman, the host of the Cyber Hero Adventures Show. Welcome to today's special Veterans Day edition of the Cyber Hero Adventures Show, being shared with our 23,235 and growing LinkedIn connections with global thought leaders in cybersecurity. Our mission for today's show is to honor the brave, selfless men and women and their families who protect and defend America. A special thank you to Appgate for making today's show possible and for believing in our mission to shine the light on the unsung cyber heroes who toil in anonymity to keep us safe at work, at home, and at school. Appgate is the secure access company that provides cybersecurity solutions for people, devices, and systems based on the principles of zero trust security. Appgate updates IT systems to combat the cyber threats of today and tomorrow. Through a set of differentiated cloud and hybrid security products, Appgate enables enterprises to easily and effectively shield against cyber threats. Appgate protects more than 600 organizations across government and business. Please visit appgate.com. Thanks also to our presenting sponsor, Fortinet. Military veterans are by nature problem solvers who understand the importance of maintaining a strong defense posture and following the chain of command when dealing with an active threat. The Fortinet Veterans Program works to fill the cybersecurity skills gap by helping facilitate the transition of military service members, veterans, and military spouses into the cybersecurity industry. To learn more, visit fortinet.com/training/veterans-program. And thanks again to our defenders of our digital universe thought leaders who are subscribers to the Cyber Hero Network, who get together every week to discuss high-level challenges and opportunities facing the cybersecurity community and to conduct business based upon the notion that a rising tide lifts all ships. Let's welcome to the show Robert Ungemach, Cybersecurity Sales Engineer at Appgate. Hey, Robert, how you doing?
Real good. How are you today?
It's so nice to see you. And as I said in the introduction, thanks to you and your family for the sacrifices that you've made to keep our country safe.
You're very welcome.
Indeed. Tell our audience a little bit about why you decided to join the military in the first place.
Sure. No, that's a great question. I get asked quite often. My family actually has an extensive history of service throughout the generations, going back to Fort McHenry. So
Wow.
it's a real proud service line. And sorry, I get choked up even thinking about it. But the thing is, it's about service. I graduated from high school in the early 80s and thinking about where to go and what to do. And I was drawn to the service. And I felt like giving back and contributing to our government. It was a different world back then. We were in the Cold War, so a different kind of a strategy. Cybersecurity was really, really just on the horizon of where we were going. And I took the ASVAB, scored really well, and joined as a signals intelligence analyst and went to language school. So that was the foundation of a career that spanned several decades now in InfoSec and cybersecurity. So it's been exciting.
You know, it's amazing. Really, I'm not sure if this is an exactly correct statistic, but maybe like 1% of America, is at war.
Correct.
Is that valid?
That's pretty correct. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's very correct.
Well, then that's why it's even more important, for us in this show and everywhere, not just on this day, but all the time, to say thank you to you and your families and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for sure. We have some breaking news. Well, hold it. Appgate, a leading cybersecurity company founded on zero trust principles, closes merger with Newtown Lane Marketing. Do you know anything about this?
Yes, so it's exciting news. We spun out from our parent company, Sixtera, in January of 2020. Our goal as being a startup was to go public, and we achieved that this month, as a matter of fact. Just about 2 weeks ago, we just finally went public. So that merger's been great. We're excited. We're a growing company. We're always looking for new people and recruiting inside the military and our people that are transitioning out. It's an exciting place to work.
Wow, that does sound fantastic. Well, speaking of wonderful people, let me bring into the show Ed Gaudet. He's the CEO. And why are you laughing? I look. Remember, I do humor, and you do substance. That way, we stay in our lanes.
I feel like I just went through a trailer for a movie, so I'm still buzzing from your opening.
Indeed. So, Ed, thanks so much for being here. Ed is the CEO and founder of Censinet, and also a military veteran. Tell us a little bit about why you first decided to join the military, Ed.
Yeah, nothing like what Robert went through. I was a bit of a free spirit and bit of a beatnik, if you will, hippie, and the only way out of my small rural town was either to go into the military or go to college. And I got the best of both worlds. I was able to put myself through school on an ROTC scholarship, became a U.S. Army officer in the field artillery afterwards, and spent about 6-7 years fulfilling my commitment there, and resigned my commission in it was like mid-90s, if you will, after the first Desert Storm.
So I'm sure our audience is just dying to know. Did you have long hair? You said you were.
I did. In fact, what I would do at basic training, which no one really liked, but I would wear my peace, my peace symbol on my dog tags, and
Well,
I got a little trouble. I got a little trouble for that.
Well, no, and peace is a good thing. I mean, like generally speaking, they're probably different ways of going about acquiring it. Is your point. And so
but it was a great experience, Gary and Robert. Thank you for your service. It gave me direction. It gave me leadership skills that I wouldn't have acquired otherwise. It really, it enabled me to really become self-reflective about who I was and who I wanted to become. And obviously giving back is just such a selfless act. Anyone and everyone that's in the service, demands, our appreciation, because it really is a sacrifice on many levels. But again, for me, it was a great experience. I enjoyed the Army. I enjoyed not only the intellectual challenge of the things we were doing with the howitzers, and we were on a nuke battalion, and so I first got into cryptography, and so it was very interesting and stimulating, but also just the physicality of the challenge, and having to do the PT tests every so often, and really just kept your mind and your body aligned and in sync. So it was a really great experience overall.
It's amazing to me how many veterans are in cybersecurity who had the similar pathway, through signal intelligence and, things like that. It was like the ultimate training ground. But, there are also different ways to serve. And so I want to bring in to the show Tyler Cohen-Wood, who we just caught drinking.
We did.
If you need to spit something out with her, I can wait. We're all friends here. But Tyler spent a long time, much of her career as a civilian, but in service of the DoD. So Tyler, maybe you can share our audience a little bit about your origin story.
Sure. Well, first off, I would love to thank, I want to thank everyone who's currently serving in the military or who is a veteran. Thank you for your service. I also want to wish a happy belated 246th birthday to the U.S. Marine Corps, and to my dog Axel, whose birthday was also yesterday.
Okay, wait, time out. I mean, Tyler, come on. You do substance.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true. Tyler has, all of you have great personalities, and really everyone I know is funny. You kind of have to have that to be in this crazy digital universe in which we occupy. You need a sense of humor, and Tyler, you're doing something cool right now with your Voice America show.
Yes, I've just recently launched. It just started November 3rd. A live talk show through the Voice America network called My Connected Life, to help take cyber topics that are complex and make them interesting so that people really understand how to secure themselves and what these different types of topics mean. Like, what is the dark web? How do I know my stuff is there? So really, really excited about that. But in a former life, I served with the Department of Defense Cybercrime Center, doing digital forensics and developing training for all of the DoD. And then I moved to the Defense Intelligence Agency, where I was a deputy division chief for the Special Comms Enterprise Office. So I did not serve in the military. I was a government civilian. But what I did was all those like kind of cool Jason Bourne gadgets that help him communicate out, those came from my head. So I didn't go on any missions, but my equipment kept our military safe while on those missions. And that was something that was very important to me, because I mean, so many times I would think about, these people who are giving and sacrificing so much, and they're in high threat areas, and to be able to safely hide in the noise their communications back was incredibly important.
Indeed. And so speaking of also incredibly important, I want to invite to the show Max Justice. How you doing, Max?
Hi, Max.
Hey, Max.
Great. Nice to see you all. Glad to be here.
Yeah, nice to see you. And Max is doing some related work for sure, pertaining to NASA, which we'll get to a little bit later. But tell us your origin story, Max. How did you first come to serve in the military?
Sure. So first, I want to thank everyone here who's told us their story. It's quite incredible. In fact, Robert, I have to thank you for making me take a trip down memory lane this morning. Kind of choked up a little as well. These are actually my grandfather's dog tags from World War II.
Wow.
And,
That's wonderful.
they're on like a kind of like a string, whereas nowadays they use the bead, the metal beads. And it's just quite incredible to have things like that and to remember. Actually, it was my brother, which is what got me into the Marine Corps. I actually was in the Army before I joined the Marine Corps. I went into the Army between my junior and senior year of high school. So went in quite young, as they say, young, dumb, and full of, well, we'll stop there.
Yes.
That was what got me into the military, was my a little bit of family tradition. And it got me out of being a hillbilly in the hills of Pennsylvania, where we really didn't understand about reading, writing, or arithmetic. So I was in for quite a wake up, and the military really taught me how to be agile, always think about the target. Really that is cybersecurity. If you are not agile as an individual, agile as an organization, whoever is targeting you, they're going to get in.
Amen.
Because they were agile, they were nimble, they had their eye on the ball. They had you as a target. And if they want to target you, they're going to get in. So having a ability to respond and get that response time down from the 200 and some odd hours, I think it is, or days. Maybe it was 200 and some odd days. I think that's actually what it is. We need to get that down to hours, if not minutes.
Yes.
And if people listen to things like My Connected Life, they're going to learn how to get that time down from hours to minutes. I'm about 52 minutes into the podcast, Tyler. So thanks for sharing. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, indeed. So this is a good time to dimensionalize the problem a little bit here. So here are some statistics from Cybersecurity Ventures that basically, show, how significant the problem is. So, what do we do now as it pertains to the gap of jobs, and how do we start to attack this problem? What do you think about that, Robert?
Yeah, it's an interesting watching the statistics that are going on. The numbers are just continuously growing. Every day I get up early. Well, I still get up early and I review what's happened the day before. And we're constantly seeing new threats. And the lack of trying to find workers. I'm glad that's one of the things that has been one of the part of my mission, in addition to helping people that have been transitioning out with the issues, but also with hiring. And there's a lot of good companies that are taking that initiative to bring people into the workforce. And the skill set that comes out of the military is just, it's perfect for it. We're trained to do things that other people don't do. We're trained in leadership. We're trained in being able to identify problems and build a team and go after an objective and a goal. And it just aligns so well with cybersecurity and the other initiatives that we work. It's we got to keep going. We got to keep recruiting, and we got to keep looking for those people.
Indeed. And, to build on that point, Ed, what is your thought about the potential of opening the aperture of potential career options within cybersecurity? One of the things we've learned in our work with NIST and the National Initiative for Cybersecurity Education is there's this decision point in middle school, like maybe 4th or 5th grade, where for various reasons, someone might self-assess, I'm not good at math, or how am I going to code, or, things like that. And they just kind of, opt out, of it. And so what are your thoughts about opening the aperture about all the different types of ways you can support cybersecurity?
Yeah, so great question. I think first and foremost, we have to figure out a way to reach those individuals when they're young, and one of the ways to do that is to create some type of game, some type of interaction that starts to educate them through that game experience what it's like to be a cyber defender. And I think those are certain, it's one example of the things we could do. We could also create incentives through the government, like we used to have the Pell Grant. Why not create a grant specifically designed for cybersecurity individuals and education and scholarships in that area?
Indeed.
And if the government really wants to, to drive and correct the issues around that scarcity around resources, it's certainly possible. We know how to do that. We've done that before.
Indeed, and not coincidentally, the executive order was signed recently by the president of K through 12 cybersecurity, which focuses primarily on securing the districts, the schools, and things like that. However, I'm privileged to share with our audience that we're working in partnership with NICE on the cybersecurity career poster contest that we're in the middle of right now, to get kids to start thinking that this stuff is cool, and to make it interesting. And one of the interesting things about this experience, Tyler, is the question of how do we get more women into cybersecurity, more people of color, diversity and inclusion. It seems to be getting a little bit better than it was, but probably nowhere near as good as it can be. Is that a fair assessment?
I think that that's a fair assessment. And I'll tie my answer to your previous question. There's definitely a way to get kids interested in cybersecurity careers, but we have a problem now where we have so many unfilled cybersecurity positions, and there's an untapped resource that I'm not sure we've really been looking at, and this resource is veterans or women and men who are maybe in a mid-career level position, not right out of school, but maybe they were in a different field and they want to switch into cybersecurity. And getting those people training, getting maybe funding for grants, or getting them into companies that are willing to go and train these people, that is a huge untapped resource that we really need to look into. And it's interesting. I did a presentation. I do some pro bono presentations for schools and for girls trying to get into cyber. And the audience that I had for the last one was all women, mid-level career, trying to change their career. And apparently there's a huge number of these people. So that is a resource that we really need to tap into as well.
Indeed. And we can dimensionalize that a little bit with something we're going to pop into the screen here. This is a super cool tool that was created by NIST and NICE called CyberSeek. And, basically, it's an interactive map. So you can see the number of cybersecurity jobs that are open, by state like this. And then you can also see that there are 464,000 job openings right now, and that the supply of cybersecurity workers is, very low. And this is dimensionalized here as well. These are job openings by the NICE cybersecurity framework. So, this is to operate and maintain things, 280,000, oversee and govern, protect and defend, securely provision, analyze, and these are certification holders, the numbers of them, of the various certification agencies that you see on this size. So let's take a moment to just unpack this. Max, just kind of starting with right here. What are your thoughts about just the number of job openings?
Well, it's not going to go down anytime soon.
Right.
In fact, it's going to continue to increase. And there were several comments about military. Military folks are great resources to come into cybersecurity. And in fact, there was a recent study done by ISC Squared, which is an institute known across the globe, around the globe, for cybersecurity certifications. And they identified that 16% of those participating in cybersecurity have a military background.
Wow.
And one of the reasons why I think there's so many military folks, again, it goes back to military being able to be agile, to adapt, overcome, and improvise. And to do that, you have to continuously learn. And I think it was Tyler about reinventing yourself. That's the great part about cybersecurity, or even IT in general. Both IT and cybersecurity, you have to want to continuously learn, and you're going to have to continuously adapt to new skills. So it's easy to reinvent yourself because we as cyber pros have to do it all the darn time. And you're just joining the club of people continuously re-identifying themselves.
Indeed. And Robert, you're shaking your head in agreement. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I think Max hit on some of the key things. I mean, for people that are transitioning out, and you don't have to come from an intelligence division or something like that. I work with one of my partners, one of my sales executives is a Marine, former Marine. He's in the gunnery side. And you don't have to have that background. It's our experience. I mean, if you think about it, we're not fazed when the CEO comes into the SOC and he starts hammering on a table about an issue. Those things don't faze us. We're able to deal under pressure, deal with and condense complex situations down, and be able to brief somebody in simple terms. Those are some of the skill sets that come out of the military service and even the GS service, like Tyler has mentioned. We've, as Max had mentioned, agility, improvising, thinking outside the box, being part of a team. These are highly valued skills that in the InfoSec market broadly. And if you enjoy working with people, I've been working in operations for years. And when I got the call to come back for Appgate, I wanted to work on the sales side. I wanted to interact with more people and talk to people and talk to companies about how we can help them. And so there's a wide variety, and I think sometimes cyber gets siloed into a group of people that are sitting in the dark, but we're not always like that. We're doing other things.
Drinking Jolt Cola.
Yeah, exactly.
Mountain Dew and ice always next to us. Yep, exactly.
And not all hackers wear hoodies.
Correct. A lot of them.
Well, wait, hold on. I was just going to say, it looks like you have a hoodie. But by the way, just stay on that point. We're joking, but there is something to what you just said, which Max, which is, the archetype of what cybersecurity is. Is it this person sitting by themselves, with a hoodie. And the data shows it's really not. These are criminal organizations that have an incredible level of sophistication. And you have everything that's available on the dark web. You can get hacking as a service and all that. What do you think about that, Ed?
Well, I think as the data shows, first, these resource constraints are chronic. It's been a chronic problem in IT and in cyber for a long time. And as Max said, it's only getting worse as the data shows. So we're not going to hire our way out of the problem. We've got to consider the vector of hiring and resources, people, as one of the drivers of solving the problem. But we also have to look at the processes that we currently use and employ, and the technology and the automation. And we need to think about them holistically as this trinity of a solution that will help us really solve the cyber issues. And we need to start taking a page out of the hacker's playbook. And so one of the things we don't do well as an industry is we really don't collaborate. And if you look at what's happening with the hackers, they are collaborating at another level. They actually have venture capitalists formed that are funding their initiatives, which is just shocking.
I mean, forgive the interruption, but you're saying such an important point because, from everything I've listened and learned about all this stuff, the hackers are horizontally structured. They freely more or less share information and everything.
Absolutely.
Where the defenders are vertically structured in part because of rules and regulations and laws, but also intellectual property and competition and things like that.
Exactly.
So the good people are handcuffed, by a lot of stuff. However, and I'm going to put this to you, Tyler, because I know you have to jump off in a minute. One of the things that I'm really optimistic about, I want to check in with you, Tyler, if you agree, that the leadership right now at CISA, for example, Jen Easterly and Chris Ingles over at the White House, and Jen Naksoni. I mean, these folks are changing the culture, and they have a forward-leaning, I forget the exact word, but it's like forward-leaning approach. And something is working because we're seeing our evil being taken down. We're seeing some of this stuff happening. Tyler, what do you think? And then also, before you leave, let our audience know how they can get more information about your new show and things like that.
Sure. You can actually follow me on LinkedIn, Tyler Cohen-Wood. You can go to the Voice America site and type in my name and look for the show. And then by the end of this week, you can go to tylercohenwood.com and find out more information.
Great. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And so is there anything else you want to share with our audience before you have to go?
Well, yeah, I think there were so many really good points that have been brought up here. And, the technology is changing and there is room. If you look at those open job numbers, people are looking and hiring people from different careers that want to come into this career. And I think we can fix tomorrow's problem because we can start teaching that in schools to young kids. We should be teaching cybersecurity to kids anyway, but we need to fix today's problem. And today's problem means you're going to have to find another pool of resources to fill these jobs. And, former veterans, what everyone said today about the military, they are 100% right. They just know how to adapt to a situation, and they're not intimidated by things. So that's an incredible pool of resources for people, trying to come into the cybersecurity field. So
indeed. Well, let me end by go ahead.
Real quick, Tyler, congrats on the first episode of the dark web, the red light district of the internet. She pulls in 3 big names on the very first show. Scott Schover, Bob Schiff, Ken Muir. It's a great conversation. If you haven't heard it, go listen to it.
Yeah, thank you. It's great. We talked about some of the things that Bob has actually found on the dark web, which is kind of unbelievable. So yes, definitely listen to that. But
Indeed. Tyler, on behalf of Grateful Digital Universe, thanks for who you are and what you do. And I don't know if you know or not, but you and I are friends now.
we're friends. I know Gary's going to be on the show too.
So let me. We're wrapping up here, and Robert, thanks for being able to join back in, let me just say thank you again for the service for you and your family that you've given to our country. Is there anything else that you'd like to amplify before we sign off?
I think that a lot of people they think about cyber, and I think that some of the ways that they're really interested, there's a lot of ways to get into it, even just by starting it to become a hobby and looking for local social organizations in their area to explore interest in that. That's a great transition. I know several people that have worked that way. And to kind of piggyback, it's on what Tyler had mentioned before. There's a lot more diversity coming in cybersecurity, and that's something that we need to embrace across the board. We're better when we have a varied input, and it's not always coming from a single silo. And I think that some of the greatest advances we've seen internally within our organization, as we continue to embrace diversity, we've become such a stronger organization. So people that may not think that they have the ability to work in cyber, quite often they do, and taking that first step is a great way to go.
Indeed. And how will our audience get more information about what you're doing?
For Appgate, we're out there at appgate.com. We have some great programs federally and also commercially. We're doing a lot of good things with the DoD, with the VA. We're helping out in actually consulting on the direction for cybersecurity for our government or in the U.S. in several programs that are going on, the initiatives. We're in the collaboration program that's ongoing right now to help rewrite and understand where we should head. So we're one of the key collaborators, and it's been great. The work that we do, bringing cybersecurity and really upping the level of how our military forces and our government agencies operate. That's been a strength that Appgate has been able to contribute, and it's outstanding. It's continuing to serve, and I'll continue to do that for the rest of my life. Yep.
Well, thank you for that. And, we'd love to do a show, about what you're talking about, because a lot of our audience does deal with the federal government, and there are all types of challenges associated with compliance and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
You have all the CMMC,
Yes.
stuff that's going to affect over 300,000 suppliers.
Yes.
I was privileged to give a keynote speech to several hundred DoD people like that about this stuff, believe it or not. So love to amplify, your good work. So speaking of that, Ed, what can we do to amplify what you're doing? Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah. So, someone had mentioned General Nagasone and the new leadership at CISA, which I would echo, spot on. They're doing some amazing things today that they weren't doing, even 10 years ago. And I think, one of the most interesting things, about 5 million people, adults affected with autism in the U.S. And the NSA and DoD, they're hiring these individuals because they have an ability to really drill down in a way on this particular problem, like none of us can do, right? And so that's another approach to, I think, as we think creatively about, trying to solve this workflow or the workforce issue. This is an area that we should think about systemically tapping into and formalizing, because I think they're getting really great success out of the program that they have.
That is an incredibly good idea, and so I'm in. I'm very involved with issues pertaining to special needs, and I know exactly what you're talking about. So, how does our audience get more information about Censinet?
Yeah, Censinet.com. We're a risk management provider to healthcare, we'd love to learn more about what you're trying to do at your facility and how we can help out.
Cool. Well, thanks so much. And Max, you'll have the last word. Anything you would like to amplify?
Yeah, thanks, Gary. So we were talking earlier, I believe about hacking at some point came up. Or if not, I was looking at some hacking data. The reason why I look at hacking data, I'm actually working on my PhD, and my dissertation is going to be on how the hacker innovates. So this is an open call. If you're an entry-level hacker and you want to learn how to innovate from some old school hackers as well as new school hackers, I will have a lot of data points to share. And with that, especially as we talked about people going from the military to the civilian world, the top 5 professions within cybersecurity all are hacked professions as well.
Wow.
So meaning cloud security, cloud gets hacked. Malware analysis, well, malware is that is the hack. Data analysis, well, it's because we wanted to hack the data. Threat assessment, well, the hacker tries to lay low so you can't find them. And intrusion detection, well, you found the hacker. Gee darn, now I got to go to plan B to hack you again because you used the same password on another platform. So these are things that I want to talk to folks about, really what makes a hacker innovate, because really I see the hacker as the way to the future. It's just like IT is in everything. We're getting ready to start jacking ourselves in. I mean, right now we do it through this thing called a cell phone. We're not far away from nanobots in the blood. And what does that mean? That's a whole other story. But I'm going to hack my way into that world first because I want to understand everything about it. So if you want to learn follow the ride, you can catch me at Max at Maximum Justice Cybersecurity, as well as LinkedIn. Just search for Max Justice. You'll find me. I'm the only cyber farmer out there.
Well, we could go on and on. This is such an important topic. But again, on behalf of a grateful digital universe, thanks again for who you are and what you do, and most importantly, why you do it. For our audience, stay tuned for future episodes of the Cyber Hero Adventures. If you'd like to be on the show, just send an email to Gary@cyberheroescomics.com. Thanks, and have a great day.